The red giant star Betelgeuse pulsed angrily in the viewport of Research Station Beta 7. Its dark red light filled the observation deck where Captain Do-Yun Kim stood watching. He held his morning coffee, breathing in its rich smell, while studying the massive star. Even from this distance, Betelgeuse dominated the view, making nearby stars look like tiny dots in comparison. Another quiet morning, Captain. Science Officer HFY Park walked onto the deck, carrying her tablet. Her footsteps echoed on the metal floor. As quiet as it can be when we're watching a dying star, Do-Yun said with a small smile. He had worked with HFY for 3 years now, and her morning visits to the observation deck had become a comfortable routine. HFY moved to stand beside him at the viewport. The latest readings show increased activity in the star's outer layers. Nothing dangerous, but interesting. She showed him the tablet, which displayed waves of data in simple graphs. Do-Yun nodded, studying the information. Research Station Beta 7 was humanity's farthest outpost, built specifically to study Betelgeuse. The dying star fascinated scientists back on Earth, who wanted to understand how such massive stars ended their lives. Some worried the star might go supernova soon, while others thought it might take thousands of years. Either way, the station's job was to watch and learn. "Have you sent today's report to Earth?" Do-Yun asked, finishing his coffee. "Not yet. I wanted to double-check some unusual energy readings first." HFY adjusted some settings on her tablet. The radiation levels have been slightly higher than normal this week. Before Do-Yun could respond, a loud alarm started blaring through the station. Red warning lights flashed along the corridors. Both officers immediately turned to the main control panel. "Unknown ship detected," the station's AI announced in its calm voice. "Distance, 500,000 kilometers, and closing." Do-Yun put down his coffee cup and straightened his uniform. "Show me," he ordered. A large screen lit up, displaying a strange vessel approaching their station. It was unlike any ship Do-Yun had seen before. The vessel had a smooth, oval shape with what looked like fins or wings spreading out from its sides. It glowed with a soft blue light. "Are they transmitting anything?" Do-Yun asked, keeping his voice steady despite his racing heart. This was humanity's first contact with an alien ship, but his training had prepared him for this moment. "Yes, Captain," HFY replied, her fingers moving quickly over the control panel. "They're broadcasting on multiple frequencies. The computer is working to decode their message." The strange ship came to a stop about 100,000 kilometers from the station. It hummed there in space, its blue glow pulsing gently against the red backdrop of Betelgeuse. Suddenly, the main screen flickered and showed an alien face. The creature looked almost like a tall, thin human, but with gray-blue skin and large, dark eyes. It wore what appeared to be a uniform with strange symbols on its chest. "Greetings, Earth vessel," the alien said in slightly accented but clear English. "I am High Observer Kex of the Galactic Research Fleet. We are surprised to find your station in this sector." Do-Yun stepped forward, keeping his voice professional and calm. "I am Captain Do-Yun Kim of Research Station Beta 7. We welcome you, High Observer Kex." The alien's large eyes blinked slowly. "Captain Kim, are you aware that you have positioned your station dangerously close to an unstable Class M red supergiant?" HFY and Do-Yun exchanged quick glances. "Yes, High Observer," Do-Yun replied. "That's why we're here. Research Station Beta 7 is dedicated to studying Betelgeuse." There was a long pause. The alien's expression showed what looked like confusion or concern. "You deliberately built a station here to study the dying star." "That's correct," HFY spoke up. "I'm Science Officer HFY Park. We've been gathering data on Betelgeuse's behavior for the past 3 years." The alien made a strange sound that might have been a gasp. 3 Earth years. You've been here that long." More aliens appeared in the background of the transmission, all wearing similar uniforms and showing similar expressions of shock. "Would you like to dock with our station?" Du Yun offered, following standard first contact protocols. We would be happy to share our research and learn about your studies as well. High Observer Kex turned to speak with the others in a language the universal translator couldn't catch. After what seemed like a heated discussion, the alien turned back to the screen. We accept your offer, Captain Kim, though many of my crew think this is unwise. Kex paused, then added, our scientists are particularly interested in understanding how your station survives so close to such an unstable star. Over the next hour, the station buzzed with activity as they prepared for their first alien visitors. Engineer Tawan Lee worked to adjust the docking systems to accommodate the alien ship's unusual design. The medical bay prepared for possible biological differences, and Security Officer He Jun-yoon set up safe meeting areas. Ji-hai stayed busy collecting all their research data on Betelgeuse. They seem almost afraid of the star, she said to Du Yun as they walked to the docking bay. I wonder why. We'll find out soon enough, Du Yun replied. He straightened his uniform one last time as the airlock indicators turned green. Remember, we represent not just this station, but all of humanity. Let's show them what we can do. The airlock door slid open with a soft hiss. High Observer Kex stood there with two other aliens, all much taller than the humans. They wore what looked like protective suits, though their faces were uncovered. Welcome to Research Station Beta 7, Du Yun said with a small bow. Kex and the other aliens stepped carefully into the station, their movements showing obvious tension. One of them held up a device that beat steadily. Your radiation shielding is impressive, Kex said, studying the device's readings. Though I don't understand why you wouldn't build your research station at a safer distance. The closer we are, the better our readings, Ji-hai explained. We've developed special shielding technology specifically for studying stars up close. Would you like to see our main research lab? The aliens followed them through the station's corridors, asking questions about every safety system they passed. Their worry seemed to grow when they reached the observation deck and saw Betelgeuse filling the viewport. Extraordinary, one of the alien scientists whispered, moving closer to the viewport. Your species must have remarkable courage, or perhaps a very different understanding of danger. Du Yun smiled slightly. We believe the benefits of scientific discovery are worth the calculated risks. Humans have always pushed boundaries to learn more about our universe. High Observer Kex turned to face Du Yun fully. Captain Kim, what we're about to tell you might be shocking. According to our calculations, this star could go supernova at any time. It might happen tomorrow, or in 100 Earth years, but it will happen. The fact that your species chose to build a station here, it challenges everything we thought we knew about developing civilizations. We know about the supernova possibility, Ji-hai said, pulling up some data on a nearby screen. In fact, that's one of the main reasons we're here. We want to understand exactly how and when it will happen. The data we collect could help us predict similar events throughout the galaxy. The aliens gathered around the screen, their expressions showing a mix of fear and fascination. As Ji-hai explained their research methods, Du Yun noticed how the aliens gradually moved closer to the viewport, their initial terror slowly giving way to scientific curiosity. Perhaps, Kex said finally, we have much to learn from each other. The alien leader turned to look at Betelgeuse again, this time with something like wonder in those large dark eyes. Your species sees things very differently than ours. It would be valuable to understand why. Du Yun nodded. We would be honored to share our knowledge and learn from yours as well. This could be the beginning of a very interesting partnership. As if to emphasize his words, Betelgeuse pulsed brightly, its red light washing over them all. The aliens flinched slightly, but didn't step back this time. Instead, they watched the star with growing interest, perhaps starting to see it through human eyes, not just as a threat, but as an opportunity to understand one of the universe's greatest mysteries. The first contact between humans and aliens had begun, sparked by humanity's endless curiosity and willingness to face the unknown. As Du Yun looked at their visitors, he knew this was just the beginning of a much bigger adventure. Engineer Taiwan Li walked through the station's main corridor, carrying his toolbox. He had just finished checking the radiation shields for the third time today. The aliens' constant worry about safety had made everyone a bit more careful than usual. As he turned a corner, he saw Science Officer Jai Park talking with one of the alien scientists in the research lab. "So your people have never built a research station near a star?" Jai asked, showing the alien some data on her tablet. The alien scientist, who had introduced himself as Rix, shook his head. His gray-blue skin seemed to shimmer under the lab's bright lights. "We study stars from very far away," he explained. "The idea of getting this close seems dangerous to us." Taiwan smiled as he walked past them. He had been fixing things on this station for 2 years now, and he knew every bolt and panel. The humans had built it well, with layers of protection against radiation and other space dangers. He felt proud when he heard the aliens praising their safety systems. In the station's meeting room, Captain Du Yun, Kim sat with High Observer Kex, sharing stories about their different cultures. The room had a large window facing Betelgeuse, and Kex kept glancing at the huge red star with nervous eyes. "Your species evolved on a planet that orbits a stable yellow star," Kex said, holding a cup of Earth coffee carefully. "Yet you choose to study this unstable giant up close. Why?" Du Yun thought for a moment before answering. "Humans have always been curious about dangerous things," he explained. "Throughout our history, we've climbed the highest mountains, explored the deepest oceans, and even gone into space, all because we wanted to learn more." "But surely there are safer ways to learn?" Kex asked. "Sometimes the best way to understand something is to get close to it," Du Yun replied. "Yes, it can be dangerous, but we prepare carefully and take smart risks. That's how we've made many of our greatest discoveries." Their conversation was interrupted when Jihai and Rix entered the room. Jihai looked excited, her eyes bright with new ideas. "Captain, Rix has been showing me their star mapping technology," she said. "It's amazing. They can detect things we've never seen before. And they're surprised by some of our research methods, too." Rix nodded, though he still looked nervous about being so close to Betelgeuse. "Your ways of studying stars are very different from ours," he said. "You use smaller, simpler tools, but you get surprisingly good results. Perhaps because you're willing to get closer than we ever would." Just then, Engineer Taiwan appeared at the door. "Captain, the alien ship is fully connected to our docking system now," he reported. "And I've checked all our safety measures again. Everything is working perfectly." "Thank you, Taiwan," Du Yun said. He turned to Kex. "Would you like a tour of our engineering section? You can see exactly how we protect ourselves from the star's radiation." Kex agreed, and soon they were all walking through the station's lower levels. Taiwan led the way, proudly showing off the machinery that kept them safe in space. "These are our main shield generators," he explained, pointing to large machines humming with power. "We designed them specially for this mission. They can handle radiation levels much higher than what Betelgeuse currently produces." The aliens studied the equipment with great interest. They seemed surprised by how simple and sturdy everything looked. "Our ships use much more complicated systems," Rick said. "But they need constant adjustment and repair. Your technology is remarkably reliable." "That's because we build things to last," Taiwan said with pride. "When you're this far from Earth, you need equipment that won't break down easily." As they continued the tour, they met Sun Li Choi, the station's young meteorologist, in the weather monitoring room. She was watching several screens showing different views of Betelgeuse's surface. "Look at these energy patterns," she said excitedly, pointing to one of the screens. "The star's outer layers are moving in interesting ways today." The aliens moved closer to look, though they stayed well back from the window. Sun Mai explained her work with enthusiasm, showing them how she tracked the star's behavior and predicted its changes. "You watch it so carefully," Kex observed. "Aren't you afraid of what you might see?" Sun Li looked surprised by the question. "Afraid? No, I'm excited. Every day we learn something new. Sure, it's dangerous, but that's why we're so careful with our safety measures." Later, in the station's dining area, the humans and aliens shared a meal together. The aliens were curious about Earth food, just as the humans were interested in learning about alien customs. "I think I'm starting to understand something about humans," Kex said, trying some Korean-style noodles that the station's food synthesizer had made. "You don't ignore danger, you face it directly and try to understand it." "That's right," Jehai agreed. "We believe that understanding something makes it less frightening. Even a dying star like Betelgeuse has much to teach us." The conversation was interrupted by a soft beeping sound. Sun Mai checked her tablet quickly. "Just a small increase in solar activity," she reported calmly. "Nothing to worry about." The aliens tensed at this news, but they noticed how calm the humans remained. Slowly, they relaxed too, following the humans' example. "Your species is teaching us something important," Rix said thoughtfully. "Perhaps our fear of stellar phenomena has held back our research. We could have learned so much more if we had been braver." "It's never too late to learn new ways of doing things," Du Yun said kindly. "That's one reason why meeting other species is so valuable. We all have different strengths to share." As the day went on, the aliens grew more comfortable on the station. They still jumped slightly when Betelgeuse flared, but they no longer rushed to check their safety equipment every time it happened. They began to trust the humans' technology and experience. In the observation deck, Jihai and Rix worked together, combining their different methods of studying stars. The aliens' advanced sensors and the humans' close-range observations complemented each other perfectly. Together, we could learn things neither of our species could discover alone, Jihai said, looking at their combined data. Rix agreed, his earlier fear now mixed with scientific excitement. "Your courage and our technology. It's a powerful combination." Meanwhile, Taiwan showed some alien engineers how the station's shields worked. The aliens were impressed by how the humans had solved complex problems with straightforward solutions. "Sometimes the simple way is the best way," Taiwan explained. "Out here in space, complicated things can go wrong too easily." As the station's day cycle came to an end, the aliens prepared to return to their ship for rest. Before leaving, Kex spoke with Du Yun one more time. "Captain Kim, this day has changed how we think about humans," the alien leader said. "We came here worried about your safety, thinking you were being reckless. Now we see that you are both brave and wise. You take risks, yes, but you prepare for them carefully." Du Yun smiled. "Thank you, High Observer. We've learned much from you as well. Your technology and knowledge will help us study Betelgeuse even better." Looking out at the giant red star, both human and alien stood in comfortable silence. The star's light filled the room with a warm glow, and for the first time, Kex didn't flinch away from it. "Tomorrow," Kex said, "we would like to learn more about your research methods. Perhaps it's time for our people to be a little braver in our scientific studies." "We would be happy to teach you," Du Yun replied, "and to learn from you as well. After all, that's what exploration is all about, sharing knowledge and growing together." As the aliens left for their ship, the humans gathered in the control room to discuss the day's events. They had made new friends and opened the door to exciting scientific cooperation. But none of them knew that their greatest test, and their chance to really prove humanity's worth, was coming soon. The morning started with a warning. Sun Mai Choi sat up straight in her chair as her monitoring equipment began showing unusual readings from Betelgeuse. The giant red star was becoming more active than normal. "Captain," she called through the station's communication system, "you need to see this." Captain Du Yun Kim arrived quickly at the monitoring room. followed by Science Officer Jai Park. The alien ship was still docked with the station, and soon High Observer Kex and Chief Scientist Rix joined them too. The star's outer layers are moving strangely, Sunmai explained, pointing to her screens. The energy readings are much higher than usual. Jihai leaned in to study the data. These patterns look familiar, she said thoughtfully. I've seen something like this before in our old records. The aliens were already backing away from the window. Captain Kim, Kex said urgently, these readings suggest a major stellar event is coming. We should evacuate immediately. Du Yun looked at his science team. Jihai, what do you think? Jihai was quickly comparing the current data with older records on her tablet. The patterns match what we saw 6 months ago, just before that big solar flare. But this time, the energy levels are much stronger. A solar flare? Rix asked, his large eyes wide with worry. At this distance, even a small flare could be dangerous. A large one would be catastrophic. Engineer Taiwan Li's voice came through the communication system. Captain, I've already started powering up our backup shield generators. We can handle a pretty big flare if we need to. Du Yun nodded, remembering how they had survived smaller flares before. How long do we have, Sunmei? Based on these readings, maybe 4 hours before the main event, she answered, her fingers moving quickly over her control panel. The star's surface is getting more unstable by the minute. High Observer Kex stepped forward. Captain Kim, we respect your species' bravery, but this is too dangerous. Our ships have room for your entire crew. Please, evacuate with us to a safe distance. Du Yun looked around at his team. He saw no fear in their faces, only professional focus and scientific interest. They had trained for situations like this. Thank you for your offer, High Observer, he said politely, but we'll stay. This is exactly the kind of event we came here to study. Our station is designed to handle it. But the radiation levels will be extreme. Rix protested. Your shields might not be strong enough. Jihai spoke up, still studying her data. Actually, I don't think this is going to be a supernova. The energy pattern is wrong for that. It's going to be a massive solar flare, yes, but our shields should hold if we prepare properly. The next few hours were very busy on the station. Taiwan worked to strengthen their shields, redirecting power from non-essential systems. Sun Ni kept tracking the star's activity, calling out updates every few minutes. Jihai and her science team prepared their instruments to record everything about the coming flare. The aliens watched all this activity with a mixture of fear and amazement. They saw how calmly the humans worked, how well they knew their jobs, how carefully they checked everything. Your crew is very well trained, Kex said to Du Yun as they stood in the control room. But surely you must be afraid. Du Yun smiled slightly. Being afraid is natural. Being paralyzed by fear is dangerous. We respect the star's power, but we don't let fear stop us from doing our work. 3 hours later, Betelgeuse began to show visible signs of the coming flare. Huge waves of energy moved across its surface, making the star's red light flicker and pulse. 1 hour to predicted flare time, Sunmai announced. All readings are still climbing. Taiwan's voice came through the speakers. Shield systems are at maximum power. Backup generators ready. We're as prepared as we can be, Captain. The alien ship had pulled away from the station, though they stayed close enough to help if needed. Through the video link, the humans could see worry on all the alien faces. Last chance to evacuate, Kex offered, real concern in his voice. We're staying, Du Yun said firmly. But please keep recording everything from your position. The data from different distances will be very valuable. As the final minutes counted down, the humans moved calmly through their emergency procedures. They had practiced this many times. Every person knew exactly what to do. 30 minutes to flare, Sunmei called out. The star's light was getting brighter, making the station's automatic windows dim to protect their eyes. Jihai checked all her instruments one last time. Everything's ready. We're going to learn so much from this event. 15 minutes, Sunmai announced. The star's surface was churning violently now, huge waves of plasma rising and falling. Tide 1 reported from the engineering section. All shields holding steady. Power systems running perfectly. 5 minutes, Sunmai said. The red light from Betelgeuse was so bright now that it filled every window with a deep crimson glow. Through the video link, they could see the alien ship's crew watching in terror and fascination. They had never seen anyone stay so close to such a powerful stellar event. 1 minute, Sunmai called. Everyone on the station took their positions, ready for what was coming. 30 seconds. 20. 10. Betelgeuse erupted. A massive wave of energy burst from its surface, reaching out into space like a giant hand. The flare was beautiful and terrifying, a fountain of fire larger than 1,000 planets. The station's shields lit up as the energy wave hit them. Warning alarms sounded throughout the station, but they had expected this. Everything was working as it should. Shields holding at 82% strength. Tide 1 reported calmly. All systems functioning normally. Recording all data, Jai-Hai added, her eyes bright with excitement as she watched her instruments gather information about the massive flare. The aliens watched in stunned silence as the human station stood firm against the stellar storm. Their own instruments showed radiation levels that they had thought would be instantly fatal, but the humans had built their station stronger than anyone had thought possible. The main force of the flare lasted for 20 minutes. When it finally began to fade, the station's shields were still holding at 64% power. They had survived, and more importantly, they had gathered priceless scientific data about the event. Damage report? Du Yun asked, though he already knew the answer from the calm faces around him. No significant damage, Captain, Tide 1 replied proudly. The shields worked exactly as designed. All data recorded successfully, Jai-Hai added. We've never had such detailed readings of a stellar flare this powerful. This will help us understand so much more about how stars like Betelgeuse behave. The alien ship moved carefully back toward the station. When Kex's face appeared on the video screen, the alien leader looked shocked but impressed. We didn't think this was possible, Kex said quietly. To survive so close to such a powerful stellar event, your species is truly remarkable. Du Yun smiled. Thank you, High Observer. Would you like to dock again? We have a lot of interesting data to share. As the aliens returned to the station, the humans could see a change in how their visitors looked at them. There was new respect in their eyes, and something more, a growing understanding that perhaps their own fear of stars had been holding them back. Perhaps, Rick said to Jai-Hai as they began looking at the data together, it is time for our people to learn some of your courage. We may have better technology in some ways, but you have shown us that bravery and careful preparation can accomplish things we thought impossible. The star continued to shine in the viewport. Its light now returned to its normal red glow. The humans had faced its fury and survived, proving that with the right preparation and determination, they could study even the most powerful forces in the universe up close. But as they celebrated their success, none of them knew that this was just the beginning. The data they had gathered would lead to even greater discoveries, and the friendship they had built with the aliens would soon become more important than any of them could imagine. A week had passed since the massive solar flare, and Research Station Beta 7 was buzzing with activity. Scientists from both species worked together in the labs, sharing their knowledge and learning from each other. The aliens had decided to stay and study the humans' methods more closely. Jai-Hai Park sat with Chief Scientist Rix in the main research lab, looking at the combined data from the solar flare. The information they had gathered was amazing, better than anything either species had collected before. Your close-range readings, combined with our long-range scans, show us things we never knew about stellar flares, Rick said, pointing to a detailed graph on the screen. We can see exactly how the energy builds up and releases. Jai-Hai nodded excitedly. And your advanced sensors picked up patterns we couldn't detect before. Together, we're learning so much more than either of us could alone. In the engineering section, Taiwan was showing a group of alien engineers how the station's shield systems had handled the flare. The aliens had brought some of their own technology to study alongside the human designs. Your shields use more power, Taiwan explained, but ours are more efficient for long-term use. Maybe we could combine the best parts of both systems. The alien engineers agreed eagerly. They had stopped jumping at every flash from Betelgeuse, though they still checked their safety readings regularly. Working with the humans had helped them become braver about studying dangerous phenomena up close. Captain Du-Yum Kim and High Observer Kext stood in the observation deck, watching Betelgeuse's swirling surface. The huge star seemed calmer now after the big flare, but they knew it would become active again eventually. Your species has taught us something important, Kex said thoughtfully. We were so focused on staying safe that we missed many chances to learn. Sometimes you need to take careful risks to make new discoveries. Do-Yun smiled. And your species has taught us things too. Your advanced technology helps us work more safely. We don't take unnecessary risks. We just prepare well for the risks we need to take. In the weather monitoring room, Sunlight worked with alien scientists to create better ways to predict stellar activity. They combined the aliens' long-range scanning technology with the humans' close-up observation methods. Look at this, Sunlight said, showing them a new pattern she had noticed. When we mix your data with ours, we can see warning signs of solar flares much earlier than before. The aliens gathered around her screen with interest. They had grown to trust her judgment about the star's behavior, impressed by how well she understood its patterns. Later that day, everyone gathered in the station's main meeting room. The walls showed images of the recent solar flare from different angles and distances, combining both human and alien recordings. It was time to discuss what they had learned and plan for the future. The data we gathered during the flare is remarkable, Jai-Hai began, standing at the front of the room. We now understand much more about how stars like Betelgeuse behave before, during, and after major events. Rick stood next to her, adding his own findings. And by combining our different observation methods, we can predict these events more accurately. This knowledge will help make stellar research safer for everyone. Engineer Ta-One presented next, showing designs for a new type of shield system that use both human and alien technology. We can make something better than either of us had before, he explained. Stronger protection that uses less power. The aliens in the room nodded approvingly. They had seen how well human engineering worked, even though it seemed simple compared to their own complex systems. Sunmei shared her improved prediction models, which could now give several hours more warning before solar events. With both close and long-range data, we can see the warning signs much earlier, she said proudly. High Observer Kex stood up to speak. When we first found your station here, we thought you were being reckless. Now we understand that courage and careful preparation can work together. Your species has shown us a new way to approach scientific discovery. Du-Yun responded warmly. And your species has shown us how advanced technology can make our work safer and more effective. Together, we can do things neither of us could do alone. Kex had an important announcement to make. The Galactic Research Fleet has approved our proposal. We want to build a joint research station here, one that combines the best of both our species' approaches to studying stars. The room filled with excited conversation. Humans and aliens began discussing plans immediately, sharing ideas about how to make this new partnership work. The new station will have better shields, more advanced sensors, and room for scientists from both species to work together, Kex explained. We'll learn from each other and make discoveries that benefit everyone. Over the next few hours, they talked about their plans for the future. The aliens would share their advanced technology, while the humans would teach their methods for working safely in dangerous conditions. Together, they would study not just Betelgeuse, but other interesting stars throughout the galaxy. As the meeting ended, Jai-Hai and Rix stayed behind to look at more data. It's amazing how much we've learned from each other in just a week, Jai said. Rix agreed. Our peoples are very different, but those differences make us stronger together. Your courage and our technology, your practical methods and our advanced sensors. It's a perfect combination. That evening, the humans and aliens gathered in the observation deck for a small celebration. They had prepared food from both their cultures, though the aliens still found human spices very strong. Du Yun looked around at everyone working together, humans and aliens sharing stories, comparing notes, making plans for future research. A week ago, the aliens had been shocked to find humans living so close to a dying star. Now they were planning to join them. Betelgeuse pulsed in the viewport, its red light washing over them all. This time, no one flinched. Instead, both species watched the star with shared curiosity and respect, eager to learn its secrets together. You know, Kex said to Du Yun, when we first arrived, we thought we were coming to save you from a dangerous situation. Instead, you saved us from our own fears and showed us a better way to explore the universe. Du Yun smiled. That's what space exploration is all about, not just discovering new things, but discovering new ways of thinking. Every species has something to teach and something to learn. As the celebration continued, Betelgeuse kept shining, its light now representing not danger, but opportunity. The humans had shown that with courage, preparation, and an open mind, even the most frightening things in the universe could be studied and understood. And now, with their new alien friends, they were ready to explore even more of space's mysteries together. The story of Research Station Beta 7 would be told throughout the galaxy, teaching other species that sometimes the bravest thing to do is to stay and study what others fear. It marked the beginning of a new era of cooperation between humans and aliens, brought together by their shared love of discovery and their willingness to learn from each other.